Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video from the new REPHQ. Kind of, not really. I mean, we're still under construction. It's going to be a while before you guys see my face in a live stream again, or I actually do a video with myself in it, but I still want to get videos out to you guys because I care a lot about the fans and I feel like they deserve some content, and it's the start of the month still, sort of, and I kind of wanted to do a prediction blitz. You guys voted on the poll on Twitter that you guys wanted me to do a Senate prediction instead of a governor's prediction, but we're still going to do both, maybe even a House prediction. I'm still going to be getting out content to you guys roughly every other day. I might go live eventually without my face, potentially, if there's some pressing issues that I feel like need to be discussed. But anyways, guys, make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel. I already filled out all of the states that I don't think are worth talking about because I'd rather spend a lot more time talking about the races that do actually matter, that will determine the balance of power in the United States Senate. But first, it would not be complete if I did not talk about my great friends over at Noble Gold. So inflation's a thing of the past, right? Not exactly. Last month's inflation in the US had the highest rise in 29 years. So with rising food and gas costs, it's an urgent problem if you're thinking about retiring soon. You need an inflation dam to stop your savings and assets from eroding in value, and Noble Gold's expertise in retirement planning and IRAs means their team of specialists is your first stop. Inquire about offers this month of a 1-ounce American Eagle pure silver proof coin with an IRA on noblegoldinvestments.com. That is www.noblegoldinvestments.com. So, all right, guys, the Senate, Republicans have a chance at taking back the Senate next fall, and honestly, I think it's inevitable. I really do, and I'm not just saying that. And we look through these individual races, and it seems as if Republicans have an advantage here in swing states because of the national environment. I mean, Democrats held on to West Virginia, Montana. In fact, they barely lost in Missouri and Indiana. The only swing state where they lost a Senate seat in is Florida, and that's a state vastly moving to the right, and it's been immune to midterm waves technically, although next year I think it won't be as immune as it was in 2014 and 2018. So we're going to fill this map out. Now, I want to briefly cover Alaska. There could be a primary challenger there. Either way, I think it will stay in the Republican column. Hopefully, it will essentially flip because Murkowski, her voting record is not really a Republican voting record. In fact, it's a center-left voting record. And you could look at somebody like Susan Collins, who arguably is to the right of Murkowski, but her state is a likely D state, maybe a lean D state on a good year. So it kind of tells you really how left-wing Murkowski is comparatively speaking. She's to the left of Collins, and Collins is in a state that is typically a Democrat state, even though it's moved a little bit to the right thanks to a man named Donald J. Trump. So that's it for the state of Alaska. Iowa, Chuck Grassley, probably going to run again, even though he's like almost 90 years old. But say what you will about the guy, the people of Iowa actually do like him significantly. For some reason or another, he has no chance at losing at the moment, in my opinion. I think he'll win by more than 10, if not more than 15. Ohio is another one. You have a primary full of a lot of underwhelming people and fakers. I don't trust Josh Mandel or Jane Timken one bit. And again, with somebody like J.D. Vance, who's good on policy, a lot of people are raising concerns about his past because he didn't support Trump until 2018. But to be fair, a lot of the other people in the primary didn't really support Trump either. So Ohio is a little bit of a mess. I think it's going to stay red no matter what happens, whether it's Vance or Mandel or Timken. Maybe Timken could make it a little competitive, but I still think that Timken would win by more than 5 points. Also, Mike Gibbons, he seems to be the candidate with the least amount of baggage at the moment, but we'll see. I don't think Trump's going to endorse anybody until the election season really starts heating up in Ohio. But as of right now, I'm going to put it as a safe red state. Same thing with Florida. I don't see Florida flipping either. I think Rubio's going to win by more than 10. I think he could win by up to 15 points given the candidate that he's opposing, or if Dems decide to pull out of the race. Florida's not going anywhere either. So on the Dem side, likely Dem seats, Colorado. That one I don't see flipping. I think it could be under 10, depending on who the Republican nominee is. But as of right now, I have that staying in the Dem column. So The rest of these Senate seats technically could go for the Republicans, honestly. And I'm not just saying that to say it. If you look at the metrics and you look at the magnitude of wave, even if it's an R+1 electorate, Republicans probably are going to win almost all of these Senate seats on this map here, because that's how midterms work. I did a video before my Great Texas documentary, which you should all watch, by the way, on the 5 reasons why Republicans will dominate the midterms. And one of them is the energy factor and the incumbency disadvantage for Biden and the Democrats. And it does seem to be something that will favor Republicans. On a lot of these special elections we've seen so far, Republicans have been the ones energized. Not all of them, but most of them. Similarly in 2017. Honestly, I don't think Republicans are going to have some massive wave where they win the generic ballot by 10 points, but I think that if they win it by even just a few points in the national popular vote, that's going to be a massive W for them in terms of flipping back the House and flipping back the Senate. So starting with New Hampshire, if Sununu runs, I would expect Sununu to win in New Hampshire. I would expect him to win by a tilt-to-lean margin. I think he'd win by about 3 percentage points. The state of Pennsylvania, another important state. John Fetterman is arguably somebody who is being overhyped. If you look into his record, he has a lot of baggage. And I do not see him being somebody difficult to beat, especially if the Republican nominee is Sean Parnell, a very polished candidate that still has a little bit of that Trump populist appeal, because that's really the type of candidate you need to win in the Midwest. So Pennsylvania, I think Parnell is going to get the nomination. I think he'll beat Fetterman by around 2 to 3 points or so. As of right now, actually, I will put it as a tilt race because Fetterman is getting a lot of money. If that continues, could get a little bit closer. But if you look at Pennsylvania, a state Biden barely won by 1.2 percentage points, Fetterman would undoubtedly do worse than Biden in the suburbs of Philadelphia. I don't see him doing much better in the Pittsburgh area. I think the rural areas would still come out for Parnell, and I think that Parnell would cruise to victory by a point or two at a minimum. I think he could win by up to 5, actually. People are going to see this when we get closer to the election, but early polls don't really matter. I don't know how many videos I have to do on this to actually prove it to you guys, but it seems like all the people that were saying, oh, Biden's going to win big in Florida and North Carolina, and he's going to win Ohio and Iowa. I said, no, he's going to lose Ohio and Iowa by close to 10. Leading up to the election, they laughed at me. And it turns out that I actually underestimated Trump in both states. So the early polls don't exactly matter. You have to analyze the polls properly. We did a great job in 2020. We're pretty accurate in terms of the margins in every state as a result. So 49-46 Republican as of now. North Carolina, I forgot to fill this state out. I think it's going to be lean red. I think Ted Budd is going to win by around 3 points over whatever Democrat they put up. The Dems in North Carolina, very good at the state level in terms of their ability to win elections. At the federal level, they have not been really good since like 2008. I think that's the last time that they held a Senate seat in North Carolina. They're not going to hold one in the red wave. Ted Budd's going to get the nomination. He has that Trumpian appeal. He will likely end up winning in North Carolina. So the state of Georgia, Herschel Walker is all but running for Senate at the moment. He is a celebrity. He is a Trump acolyte. He actually babysitted Trump's kids, I believe, growing up. And honestly, he's a former NFL star. And it's going to be very hard to defeat him in the primary, and I can't see anybody else getting Trump's endorsement. The agricultural commissioner seems like a candidate that could also win, but as of right now, I think Walker is likely the best candidate to win. Warnock has a lot of skeletons in his closet that were not properly exploited by the opposition. So I think it's going to be close. Georgia, we talk about Georgia all the time. Georgia is a state that is moving to the left. The suburbs are growing way too fast. But I think that with the turnout levels and who could energize voters up in this part of the state that didn't turn out in the runoffs very much, Trump's guy, Herschel Walker, I think he'll run up the margins. I think he'll beat Warnock fairly easily. And I think he'll be the next senator out of Georgia. Could be the last Republican senator they have for a long, long time. But either way, I think he'll win. Wisconsin, the state of Wisconsin. This is an easy one for the Republicans, I think. And Wisconsin 2020 was a fluke in the way that Indiana in 2008 for Obama likely was. It's probably the last time you'll see it go Democrat if the Republican Party continues down the pathway of national populism, the pathway they've been going down. There's a lot of light pink that could turn into dark pink and red. in much of the rural part of the state. If you look at the map, there's a lot more that can actually be tapped into, and Dems likely are maxed out in WoW even, given the educational demography of WoW. Same thing with the counties surrounding Madison. Sauk County has a lot of retirees from Madison that could push it left, but at the same time, Iowa County, Columbia County, Republicans could gain more in some of these parts, as well as down in this part of the state, Greene and Rock. These are likely going to be red states, especially with the Republican improvement with Latinos could definitely push Rock into the Republican column within a cycle or two. But you have Ron Johnson, who will likely run again because Trump is pushing him to run again, and he's not perfect, but he is somebody who can win. He'll do very well in the WoW counties. He'll likely get Trump's base out in the rest of the state based off of the energy factor and the fact Republicans are going to try in the driftless district of Wisconsin's 3rd at the congressional level, and it doesn't really seem like the Dems are going to put up somebody that's too high profile, and because the Republicans have the favorability advantage, I see it being a Republican +4 state. You could put Wisconsin in the lean red column. So the state of Arizona and Nevada, these are two key states where it is also imperative that the Republicans win, and I think that they both could go either way. I really do. In fact, I really have been putting these either both red or one of them red and one of them blue, because not a lot is changing. We do the prediction blitz every month. Arizona, Blake Masters, I like him a lot. I'd like Blake Masters to be the Republican nominee. It doesn't seem like Andy Biggs is going to run. I think Blake Masters is somebody who on policy is a populist. And a lot of people are saying, well, you know, it's Arizona. It's a neocon state. You need neocons. You don't need neocons. Martha McSally was a lot more of a neocon than Trump was, and she underperformed him against Mark Kelly. Do you think running a neocon in a state where the neocons in the party have been gone for quite some time, and you have a lot of Midwestern transplants that are moving there that are actually fairly populist and open to voting for somebody like Trump more so than they are voting for somebody like Martha McSally? I mean, Arizona is essentially a Midwestern state in the Southwest, and not a lot of people are going to take that into account, but it's true. You need somebody that can do better in Maricopa County. That is true. You also need somebody who could do well in Mojave County and all of these exurban places like Prescott and Maricopa City, which ironically is not in Maricopa County. And I think Blake Masters is that guy. But do I think he can beat Mark Kelly? I don't know. That depends on strategy, because you have to look at the full picture. You see a lot of Republicans running ads that are actually pro-Sinema, trying to cause a rift and a divide between Sinema and Kelly. That is genius. You need to do that because Sinema's very popular. Like her or not, she is popular, well-liked, and she is making a lot of bipartisan decisions. Mark Kelly is trying to play that angle, but I don't believe he's as good at it, so it is something that you need to exploit as a weakness of Mark Kelly. In Nevada, Catherine Cortez Masto, her party, a lot of the Reid machine quit. They're not going to be there for her. So you could say that Republicans could flip it. They don't have a candidate yet. Maybe Laxalt's going to be that guy. I don't know. It's going to be fairly easy, though. Republicans should win both of these seats. Obviously, Mark Kelly's going to be hard to beat. Cortez Masto may be a little bit difficult, but you could argue that she'd be less difficult because Las Vegas is actually moving to the right. If you look at the shift from 2012, the shift from 2016, you see a little red arrow, 1.4% more Republican than 2016 when the national environment moved left by 2.5% essentially. So that's a trend of nearly 4 points to the right when you take that into account. And if you factor in that trend, maybe if it trends 2% to the right and you have a national environment that moves to the right by 5 or 6 points, it's going to be fairly easy to assume why Republicans could win in the state of Nevada, why they could take Maricopa County, especially when it comes down to turnout. Even if Maricopa trends left, will it matter at the end of the day? I mean, that's really the question that we have to answer. But I honestly do believe that something is brewing in Nevada, and you see the Hispanic trends continuing in South Texas and some of these local elections. And I think both of these could be red. But Arizona is going to be a tougher state, in my opinion, because Mark Kelly is that moderate guy who will campaign for more moderate voters. Now, you could say he's a fake moderate. I'd agree with you to a certain extent, the same way that Sinema is less bipartisan as she actually seems, but like her or not, she is popular, and I don't really make the rules in terms of that. So I think Arizona is going to be tougher for the Republicans to win if Mark Kelly continues going down the pathway of the filibuster. Now, he'll still screw over Republicans in that regard in the future. We'll see. Nevada, this is a state I think would actually flip into the Republican column because the math is there and the math adds up depending on the candidate. Laxalt can win. Yes, he can. New Hampshire, again, if Sununu does not run, I would expect this to be a lean Democrat seat. Could Republicans take it back with a great candidate that we've never seen before? Yeah, but I mean, it's not going to be likely. I think that Hassan has the advantage at the moment, but if Sununu runs, it is going to be lean Republican or tilt Republican. We'll see. But as of right now, 53 for the Republicans, 47 for the Democrats. I think it's going to be decided by some very close races in Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. Those are the 4 that it's going to come down to. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description below. As always, guys, thanks for watching this video. Red Eagle, out.